Yo, growing a business is kind of tricky right now. Supply chains are squeezed, tariffs and trade policies are dynamic, and cash flow, it's tighter than ever. You need clarity to come out on top. Without it, you risk falling behind. If only you could hop in the DeLorean and see the future, right? Thankfully, there's NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite has real-time forecasting to help you move ahead with confidence. This is your AI-powered business management suite and the #1 cloud ERP. Trusted by over 42,000 businesses, NetSuite brings accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR all under one roof. It's your single source of truth, giving you the data and control you need to move quickly. And with AI built in, you can automate the busy work and focus on strategy. NetSuite helps you see what's stuck, what it's costing you, and how to pivot fast. If I were running a business with a lot of moving parts, I'd use NetSuite for full control over everything. Tame the chaos with NetSuite. If your revenues are at least in 7 figures, download the free ebook, Navigating Global Trade, 3 Insights for Leaders at netsuite.com/SPI. That's netsuite.com/SPI. You spent months building towards launch day, but when the clock hits 0, your site crashes. Bots swarm, and loyal fans rage on Reddit. That's not good. Fanfare was built to stop that. Fanfare is the drop platform made for high-pressure moments, stampede-proof infrastructure, verified waitlists, and bot filters that actually work. Instead of refunds and rage, you get retention and revenue. And that sounds great to me. Your next launch shouldn't be a gamble. Get Fanfare's 5-step hype drop playbook and learn how to bulletproof your drop at fanfare.io/playbook. Again, that's fanfare.io/playbook.
Welcome to the Smart Passive Income Podcast, where it's all about working hard now so you can sit back and reap the benefits later. And now your host. He actually starts crying when he sings a sad song on pitch. Pat Flynn.
So this past week, we spoke with PJ from the Jonas family. She is a mother of 8 children, and her husband, Jim, and her kids, Brett, Coulter, Emery, Fletcher, Graydon, Hewitt, Indigo, and Jade. They run a business, a family business called Goat Milk Stuff. And if you haven't heard this episode, I highly, highly recommend it, because it is one of the most wholesome and incredible success stories that has a lot of sacrifice in the beginning, and where they're at now, it's just incredible. And honestly, my wife, April, and I cannot stop talking about their business. And I'm not paid to say this, goatmilkstuff.com, legit products for sure. And yeah, it does come from goats. So anyway, more of that story in episode 487. But I wanted to talk today to you in this Follow-Up Friday episode because the conversation with PJ reminded me of another conversation I had with another guest, or actually another couple who had come on the show at one point. And I remember, and I just had the same feelings that I had after interviewing PJ, that I had after interviewing Shane and Jocelyn Sams, where I knew that if people heard this story, it would inspire, it would motivate, and I knew that it was going to get out there. And even though this episode just published this past week, I know it's going to be one that people are going to share. I know it's going to be one that people are going to talk about. And like episode 122 with Shane and Jocelyn Sams, 400 episodes later, still people are talking about it. And it's incredible. It's that much of an impact. I have those same feelings. And so to give you some perspective, I actually wanted to play a clip from that episode with Shane and Jocelyn. They were 2 teachers from Kentucky who had discovered the show, had taken action, and had gotten some incredible results. And I wanted to play the minute, around the 7-minute mark, where Shane starts talking about his experience having found this podcast, Smart Passive Income Podcast, and the storytelling from there. And I have some lessons to share about that. But let's go back in time to episode 122 with Shane and Jocelyn. This is Shane talking about the infamous lawnmower story. Here it is.
So it was just totally random that I even stumbled across your podcast. So anyway, I get on the lawnmower, man. I'm driving around, just cutting my grass, listening to you talk about, passive income and just about online business. And it was, I don't remember exactly what episode it was, but you were talking about the Green Exam Academy stuff, like how you basically made this study guide, for people taking this architecture test. And so I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. You mean people are paying you to send them an email? And I was always like, Jocelyn always laughed at me because I would drive around and just say crazy stuff in the car. But
yeah, he would always say if I could just get 50 people to give me $100,
that would be so much money. And if I could, and it would be I wouldn't have to work for it if they would just send it to me, So, and when I was listening to your show, man, I was like, this is it. This is how I'm going to get 50 people to send me $100. So I literally, man, I was in the middle of the yard, turned the lawnmower off, jumped off my lawnmower and ran inside. I bust into the kitchen and Jocelyn's just standing there. And, I'm a little excitable. I get a little fired up like some of the time.
Just a little.
So I'm really like, I'm rolling in, man, like we just won a football game. I said, Jocelyn, you've got to listen to this. This is our destiny. We're going to change our lives. This guy, Pat Flynn's talking about making money online and passive income. I don't even know what that means, but it sounds great. And I'm just so fired up and I'm like, let's do it.
All right. I just love listening to that story. And it was told at FlynnCon on stage in 2019. Shane and Jocelyn came up on stage. They were two of my special guests at FlynnCon. And it's just always great to hear that because it reminds me of who might be listening, and you never know who's listening. So there's a couple lessons to come out of this. Number one, you never know who might be listening. They might have a story that needs your help, and they need you to be a part of that story. They need you to be the guide in that story. And I had apparently become the guide for Shane and Jocelyn. Several people had heard this story, and they have become the guide for them since then. And I know PJ and the Jonas family and the goat milk stuff story is going to be a guide, and it's going to light a fire for many people, I know, especially those who might be struggling because PJ talked a lot about the sacrifices they had to make and how they were just living off of bread for a while to make ends meet and make things work, and now they're just exploding and doing extremely well, which is really, really cool. I mean, perseverance is a part of the equation here too, perseverance and grit for sure. But more than that, if you do any sort of interviewing, if you have a podcast or a YouTube channel, especially, any sort of multimedia, and this could mean social media as well, you got to tell stories. Stories are the most powerful form of connection. We are, as human beings, programmed from birth, essentially, to listen to stories. When we are little infants, our parents are reading us stories. When we're in school, stories are being read to us. When we're sitting at the movie theater, what are we watching? We're watching a story. And stories are everywhere. And stories are an easy way to teach, to provide context, to create relatable experiences, or to paint a picture for what a future might look like for somebody. And I didn't know it at the time in episode 122, but Shane was just such a great guest, as well as Jocelyn, in the way that they told stories. And I was very fortunate because it could have simply been just a question and answer session. But I'm very grateful for them because they told great stories. And so now in the future, or here we are, I try, like with the episode in PJ, to pull out the story as much as possible. And PJ was also very generous with storytelling and giving us an insight on what it might be like to live on the goat farm and what it might have been like as the kids were young, and now they're a lot older, and more additional family members are coming into play, and kids are getting married and having grandkids. It's just incredible. I really do feel like I was there with them, and I resonate with that. I connect, and connection is key here online. So tell more stories and get more stories out of those who you're interviewing. I'd once heard from Alex Bloomberg the top strategy for getting a story out of somebody. It's very simple. You simply just ask this question, or you tee it up, in fact. You say, tell me about a time when blank. It's not a question, it's a blank. But this allows for the person who you're speaking to have permission to literally just go and tell the story. And then your job is just to listen. And that's a hard thing to do as well, because especially us podcasters, we want to poke in and comment and go different directions. But if a person's telling a story, keep the story going. If a person ends the story because they're being conscious about how much they're speaking, they don't want to be rude. If you, as the listener or representative of the audience, feel like there's maybe more to it than what was shared, then you got to go dig for it. Well, what happened next? Or how did you feel in that moment? Or what do you wish you had done differently? Or what happened next? Or just simply asking this very, very famous question: why? 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 That was from a meme, in case you didn't know. But it's also from a bunch of kids who say why all the time so much that it annoys us adults sometimes. But it's interesting because what is the kid actually doing when he's asking why, or she's asking why? They're curious. They want to know what's going on. So if you want to be a great interviewer, if you want to get stories like the story with Shane and Jocelyn, if you want to get the stories like the stories with PJ and goat milk stuff, keep asking why and what happened next. So hopefully this encourages you to take your interview game just a little bit further, because I know you can go deeper. And I know on the surface it might feel like a little bit rude or that maybe it's none of your business. But for the sake of your audience and for the sake of actually creating content, valuable content at that, and for the sake of having this person realize that this isn't just like the normal interview they would do that they can get anywhere. This is a unique one because you go deep. So go deep if you can and pull out that gold, and that'll create the connections. And I hope that if you have not listened to the episode with PJ yet, you go and do that because it is incredible, absolutely incredible. And Shayna Jocelyn Sams, again, two of my favorite people in the world. Thank you so much for continuing that ripple effect as we all are a part of and we've all experienced. So thank you so much for this Follow Up Friday episode. I hope this encourages you. I appreciate you, and I look forward to serving you in next week's interview and Follow Up Friday. Peace out, and as always, Team Flynn for the win. Thanks for listening to the Smart Passive Income Podcast at smartpassiveincome.com. I'm your host, Pat Flynn. Sound design and editing by Paul Gregoris. Our senior producer is Sarah Jane Hess. Our series producer is David Grabowski, and our executive producer is Matt Gartland. The Smart Passive Income Podcast is a production of SPI Media. We'll catch you in the next session. Have you dreamt about being your own boss, but still haven't made the first steps to making that dream a reality? Well, I get that. Starting a business can feel super overwhelming with legal forms, paperwork, finances. It's a lot. And that's why I'm excited to tell you about Taylor Brands. Taylor is a complete business builder designed to make launching your business simple and stress-free. You can register your LLC in just minutes, keeping your personal assets and the business assets separate from day one. From there, you get access to everything you need to get off the ground. Legal documents, licenses and permits, invoicing and bookkeeping tools, and even a 100-day business coaching program, all designed to help you hit the ground running. You'll also get a free, personalized business plan, branding tools, and so much more. And of course, listeners of this show get an exclusive 35% discount to get started. All you have to do is head to taylorbrands.com/SPI. That's TAILORBRANDS.com/SPI. Stop dreaming, start building with Taylor Brands. Hey, fellow podcaster, does this sound like something you've experienced? You record your podcast episode on one platform, download the files, edit in another app, then fire up a different tool just to create these social clips? Well, it can be clunky, time-consuming, and frankly overwhelming, especially for creators trying to grow. And that's why I'm excited to tell you about Riverside. Riverside is the all-in-one platform. Record, edit, and repurpose your podcast content all in one place. You just log in, record with your guests no matter where you are in the world, and just like that, studio-quality audio and high-resolution video. We use Riverside here at SPI as well now. With built-in AI, I can automatically clean up my audio, saving myself so much editing time, and it can even auto-generate clips to make promoting the show a breeze. And with Magic Clips, I can grab the best moments and repurpose them as short-form video, perfect for YouTube Shorts, TikTok, or Instagram, without re-recording a thing. So if you're tired of juggling tools and want a faster, simpler way to create and scale your content, it's time to try Riverside, built by creators for creators. Just go to smartpassiveincome.com/Riverside and use code SMART to get 1 month free on the Pro plan. That's smartpassiveincome.com/Riverside, promo code SMART.